Hey everyone, and welcome back to Talk Tickers.
Always good to be back.
Today we're going deep on CS Disco's Q4 and full year 2024 earnings call.
Yeah, breaking down the world of legal tech and AI.
How is AI transforming the legal world? Well, that's what we're here to find out.
Exactly. We're going to look beyond the numbers and see what trends and strategies are shaping this industry.
So let's jump right in and look at those headline numbers.
Sounds good to me.
CS Disco ended the year with a strong total revenue, $144.8 million.
Yeah, that's up 5% year over year.
And their software revenue, which is like the heart of their business, jumped 7%.
To hit $120.1 million.
Not bad at all.
And they managed this growth while keeping a strong financial position.
What does that look like?
Well, they've got $129.1 million in cash and short-term investments and zero debt.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is, yeah. It gives them a great base for future growth.
Okay, so they're doing well financially and growing, but what's the strategy behind it? Over $100,000?
Exactly.
Makes sense. Go for the big fish.
And it's paying off. Their revenue from that segment grew more than twice as fast as revenue from smaller customers.
So they're being picky.
I guess you could say that.
Instead of just chasing any client, they're focusing on those with the potential for those longer-term, higher-value partnerships.
Yeah, it's all about building those strategic relationships.
I like it. It's not just about getting any client. It's about getting the right client.
Exactly.
So it's not enough to just have a good product.
Yeah.
You need a solid go-to-market strategy, too.
Definitely. And CS Disco is making some big changes there.
Like what?
Well, they've completely restructured their sales team.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means they've moved resources around to focus on landing those larger enterprise clients.
So they're putting their best people on the front lines.
Yeah, and they're also shifting account management to their customer success team.
Interesting. So sales can really focus on bringing in new business.
Right, and they're realigning sales incentives to prioritize growth.
Makes sense. You want to reward the behavior you want to see.
Exactly.
So they're overhauling their sales, but what about marketing?
They're making big changes there too, moving towards a more account-based approach.
So instead of a broad, one-size-fits-all kind of marketing, they're targeting specific high-value accounts.
Exactly. It's a much more focused and efficient way to reach the right people.
So they're going laser-focused with both sales and marketing. What about customer success?
They're putting a lot of effort into rebuilding that function too.
Why is that so important?
Because once they land these big clients, they need to keep them happy.
Keep them coming back for more.
Exactly. It's all about building those long-term relationships that are beneficial for both CS Disco and their clients.
So they're creating this seamless experience for their clients.
Yeah, from the initial sales pitch to the ongoing support.
Smart move.
It is. But all this wouldn't matter without a powerful product.
You're right.
And speaking of powerful product.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about their AI-powered platform, Cecilia.
Cecilia is a game changer, but it's not their only focus.
Okay, so what else are they working on?
They're also improving their core e-discovery products.
So they're not just relying on the slash of AI, they're making sure their bread and butter offerings are still top-notch.
That's a good way to put it.
Give me an example.
Well, they recently added features like advanced reproductions and document-level beats numbering.
Okay, those might sound kind of technical, but how do they actually help lawyers in their day-to-day work?
Think about it. Lawyers often have to deal with tons of documents, especially in those big, complex cases.
Yeah, mountains of paperwork.
Right. So with advanced reproductions, they can easily update and manage those documents and make sure everything is accurate and consistent.
So it streamlines the process.
Yeah.
And reduces the risk of errors.
Exactly.
And what about document-level Bates numbering?
That makes it easier to organize and keep track of all those documents.
Especially when you're working with international clients who might have different labeling systems.
Exactly. It can be a real headache trying to keep everything straight, but this feature helps simplify things.
So they're focusing on making those essential tasks easier and more efficient.
Exactly. It's all about freeing up lawyers' time so they can focus on the things that really require their expertise.
The higher value work.
Exactly. But let's get back to Cecilia.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about this AI game changer.
It's got two main parts, Cecilia Q&A and Cecilia Auto Review.
And they're both changing the way lawyers approach research and discovery.
Right.
So let's start with Cecilia Q&A.
Okay, imagine being able to ask complex legal questions in plain English and getting precise answers with citations to all the relevant documents.
No more digging through endless legal jargon.
Exactly. Cecilia Q&A uses natural language processing to understand your questions and find the information you need.
That's amazing.
It is. It's like having a super smart legal assistant who can analyze mountains of data in seconds.
So it's not just about finding the information, but also about understanding it.
You got it. Cecilia Q&A helps lawyers make sense of complex legal concepts and see connections they might have missed otherwise.
And that can be incredibly valuable in high-stakes litigation.
Absolutely, where every little detail matters.
Okay, I'm sold on Cecilia Q&A, but what about Cecilia Auto Review?
That one's all about tackling those huge document reviews.
You mean those discovery dumps with thousands or even millions of documents?
Yeah, exactly. It would take a team of lawyers weeks or even months to go through all that manually.
So Cecilia Auto Review can handle that initial review.
It can, and it does it quickly and accurately.
So it's basically replacing lawyers.
Not at all. It's about helping them work smarter, not harder.
Okay.
It takes care of the tedious, repetitive tasks so lawyers can focus on the analysis and decision-making that requires their expertise.
So it's like having a super efficient paralegal who never sleeps.
I like that analogy.
But how can we be sure that an AI is doing a good job with something as important as legal document review?
That's a great question, and CS Disco has addressed it head-on. They've built Cecilia Auto Review with defensibility in mind.
What does that mean?
It means the system doesn't just blindly tag documents. It explains its reasoning and provides a clear audit trail.
Okay, so you can see why it made certain decisions.
Exactly, which is crucial in the legal world where accuracy and transparency are essential.
So it seems like CS Disco is finding that sweet spot between innovation and the need for reliability in their AI systems.
Absolutely. They're developing these tools thoughtfully, making sure they integrate well with existing legal workflows and meet the high standards of the profession.
So they're not just throwing AI at the problem, they're approaching it with a deep understanding of the legal landscape.
Exactly.
This is fascinating stuff.
Right.
It feels like we're on the verge of a huge transformation in the legal industry, and CS Disco is at the forefront.
I agree. Their commitment to innovation and their focus on high-value clients makes them a company to watch.
Now that we've seen how well they're performing and the strategy behind their success, let's look ahead.
To the future.
Yeah, what are their financial projections and what does that tell us about their growth?
Let's dive into their guidance for Q1 2025 and the full year. Okay, so for Q1 2025, they're projecting total revenue between $35 million and $37 million.
Okay.
And most of that's coming from software revenue.
Right.
They're looking at $30.1 million to $31.1 million there.
Got it.
And their adjusted EBITDA is expected to be between -$8 million and -$6 million.
So for the first quarter, not profitable yet.
Right.
What about the whole year, the full fiscal year 2025?
Well, they're forecasting total revenue in the range of $145.5 million to $157.5 million.
Okay.
And software revenue should be somewhere between $124 million and $131 million, with an adjusted EBITDA ranging from -$19 million to -$15 million.
So still on the path to profitability, but not there yet.
Yeah, but they've set a pretty clear target.
What's that?
Break-even adjusted EBITDA by Q4 2026.
Ambitious, but it seems like they're confident they can drive that revenue growth.
Especially from those high-value clients we were talking about.
Right. It's all about focusing on the right customers.
Exactly. And their go-to-market transformation is a big part of that.
Yeah. Those changes are pretty significant.
They are, for sure. I mean, before their sales reps were kind of doing everything.
Account management, upselling everything.
Exactly, like trying to juggle too many things at once.
You're bound to drop something.
Yeah. So they've restructured everything.
To create more specialized roles.
Right. They've got enterprise sellers now whose only focus is landing those big accounts.
Makes sense.
And they've empowered their customer success team to really build those relationships with clients.
So it's a more focused approach.
It is. And it's more efficient, too.
And their shift to account-based marketing reinforces that commitment to focus.
Yeah. Instead of trying to reach everyone, they're being very strategic about who they target.
We talked earlier about their strong cash position. How does that factor into all of this?
Well, it gives them a lot of flexibility.
In what way?
They can invest heavily in R&D. They can look at potential acquisitions, or they can just ride out any economic turbulence that might come their way.
So it's like a safety net that lets them be a little bolder.
Exactly.
And speaking of bold moves.
Let's circle back to Cecilia.
Okay. Their AI platform.
It's more than just a product. It's a fundamental shift in how legal work gets done.
I've been wanting to dig deeper into that.
Yeah.
Let's break it down, starting with Cecilia Q&A.
Okay.
It's kind of like Google for legal documents, right?
Well, it's similar, but much more powerful.
How so?
Google looks for keywords.
Right.
But Cecilia Q&A understands the context and the nuances of legal language.
So it can actually understand the meaning behind the words.
Exactly. And it can analyze complex legal concepts, identify relevant case law, and offer insights that you wouldn't get from a simple keyword search.
That's pretty incredible.
It is, and it gives you those answers in plain English.
No legalese.
No legalese, just clear and concise insights that anyone can understand.
That's a game changer.
Definitely imagine how much time lawyers can save by not having to wade through all that dense legal jargon.
Okay, so Cecilia Q&A is impressive, but what about Cecilia Auto Review?
Now that's where things get really exciting.
In what way?
Cecilia Auto Review can handle those massive document reviews.
The ones that used to take weeks or months to complete.
Exactly. It can process mountains of documents with incredible speed and accuracy.
So it can identify key information flag potential issues.
And even organize the documents based on their relevance to the case.
Wow.
It's a huge time saver for lawyers.
But honestly, can AI really replace the judgment of an experienced lawyer?
It's not about replacing lawyers. It's about giving them the tools to do their jobs better.
To work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. Cecilia Auto Review takes care of the tedious tasks so lawyers can focus on the higher level work.
The strategic thinking, the client interaction.
Exactly.
So it's like having a tireless paralegal working around the clock.
I love that analogy.
But there's got to be more to it than just speed and efficiency.
You're right. Defensibility is key. Okay. Cecilia Auto Review doesn't just blindly tag documents.
So it explains its reasoning.
It does, and it provides a clear audit trail.
So you can understand how it reached its conclusions.
Exactly, which is essential for maintaining confidence in the system.
But have lawyers actually been receptive to these AI tools, or are they pushing back?
That's a good question, and the CEO addressed it directly in his remarks.
What did he say?
He said that he's been talking to customers, and the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive.
Really?
Yeah, lawyers are excited about the potential of AI to streamline their work, improve accuracy, and free up their time.
So it's not just hype. There's real demand.
There is, and CS Disco is doing a great job of addressing the concerns of legal professionals.
So they're not just innovating for the sake of innovating. They're actually trying to solve real problems.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
We've talked about their financial performance, their strategic focus, and their innovative products.
What's next?
Let's have some fun. Yeah, let's do our This Is Not Financial Advice segment.
Ah, yes, time to put on our speculative hats.
Exactly, and come up with some outrageous but plausible trade ideas.
Always a good time.
Just remember, everyone, this is purely for entertainment purposes, not actual investment advice.
Of course.
So based on everything we've learned about CS Disco, what's your crazy but potentially brilliant trade idea?
Okay, so considering their trajectory and the potential of their technology, I wouldn't be surprised to see a major acquisition down the road.
Interesting. You think a big tech company might want to snatch them up.
It's possible. Google, Microsoft, they're all heavily invested in AI.
And CS Disco's expertise in the legal field would be a valuable asset.
Exactly. They could integrate Cecilia into their existing product line.
Get a foothold in the legal tech market.
Or maybe even a traditional legal publisher who's feeling the pressure from these AI tools.
Like Westlaw or LexisNexis.
Yeah, they might see an acquisition as a way to stay competitive.
Modernize their offerings?
Exactly.
So our outrageous but plausible trade idea
is to go long on CS Disco.
in anticipation of a potential acquisition.
But again, this is just speculation.
Not financial advice.
Do your own research, talk to a professional, and never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So,
Any other key takeaways from this earnings call that we should highlight?
one thing that really stood out to me was their focus on the customer.
Yeah.
It's woven into everything they do.
From product development to go-to-market strategy.
They're not just building technology for technology's sake.
They're building solutions to real problems.
And I think that's something that both lawyers and investors can appreciate.
Yeah, it's clear that they're really committed to modernizing the legal industry.
And they're doing it the right way.
Yeah, thoughtfully, strategically.
We've talked a lot about how AI could change the game for lawyers,
Right.
but we also need to talk about the concerns that come with any disruptive tech.
For sure. Like what?
Well, one of the big ones is that AI will replace lawyers altogether. Yeah, I can see why people might worry about that.
It's a natural fear, But I think it's a bit misplaced.
How so?
Because AI is a tool.
Right, not a replacement.
It's designed to help lawyers, not replace them.
I like to think of it like a scalpel.
Okay.
A scalpel doesn't replace a surgeon, it just helps them do their job better.
With more precision and control.
Exactly. And AI can do the same thing for lawyers.
Take care of those repetitive tasks.
So lawyers can focus on the things that really matter.
The strategy, the big decisions.
Exactly.
So it's not AI versus lawyers.
It's AI empowering lawyers.
But what about bias?
That's another big concern.
Because an AI system is only as good as the data it's trained on.
Right. If the data is biased, the results will be biased too.
So how can we make sure that AI is used fairly and ethically in the legal field?
That's a really important question, and it's one that the industry is wrestling with right now.
So what's the solution?
Well, we need to be very careful about the data that's used to train these systems.
Make sure it's diverse and representative.
Exactly, and we need ways to audit and evaluate these AI systems.
To make sure they're operating fairly.
And transparently.
So a lot of responsibility falls on the companies developing these tools.
It does, and to their credit, CS Disco seems to be taking that responsibility seriously.
How so?
Well, their focus on defensibility in Cecilia Auto Review, for example, shows that they're prioritizing transparency and explainability.
So lawyers can understand how the AI is reaching its conclusions.
Exactly. Trust is built on understanding.
So it's not just about building cool tech.
It's about building responsible, ethical tech.
Tech that aligns with the values of the legal profession.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been a really insightful look at CS Disco's earnings call.
It has.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, from their financials to their strategy to their products.
And even the big picture questions about AI in the legal world.
It's a company that's doing some really interesting things.
And they're definitely one to watch.
Before we wrap up, any final thoughts for our listeners?
I'd just say keep an eye on CS Disco.
Agreed. They're pushing the boundaries.
Challenging conventions.
Shaping the future of legal work.
And remember, this is just the beginning.
The legal tech landscape is changing fast, and AI is a big part of that.
So stay informed, stay curious, and as always, do your own research before making any investment decisions.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of legal tech and AI.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep those legal minds sharp and those portfolios diversified.